Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on what is, I would describe as a beautiful, absolutely beautiful Wednesday in Nashville, Tennessee. We are back for one day at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. A lot happening. I mean, a ton happening with an update that will end up blowing your mind before it's over. So, on the surface, a very busy day. Hopefully, those who expect the show to be on radio will realize that we're basically podcast only today. Let's start in Murfreesboro and let's say hello to former NFL quarterback Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm great, George. How you doing?
Good, man. It is busy. Get ready.
It is busy on your end. It's busy on my end trying to get ready for these state championship games and talking to
Yeah.
all these coaches and good gracious.
Repeat after me. Battleground Academy.
I'm excited to see that game, George. I'm going to tell you right now, like I see something every year that's different. And the Marable kid that is the quarterback that you told me about earlier, he's got 53. Yeah, he's got 53 passing touchdowns and he's got 12 rushing touchdowns. So George, he's got 65 touchdowns on the year. And Coach Bentley told me last night that he hasn't even played in all of the second half, like a bunch of the second halves, and he's got over 4,000 yards himself. It's just ungodly numbers. I don't understand it sometimes with these kids.
The flip side of that game is FRA is the one team that has beaten BGA this year. I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow. I think BGA is going to win. And what I say means absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Parker, say hello very quickly.
Kelly, I just want to let you know that chopped salad from Outback has fueled me this morning. Loaded show to get to today. Lots of coaching churn, news breaking left and right. Thank you again for Outback because that chopped salad was incredible.
You're welcome, Parker. I have to treat you every now and then.
Wonder what angle he's going after. He sure is.
I don't know. Who knows?
Something.
I mean, who knows with Parker? We're just now finding old Parker out. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, we're going to have to figure out that.
I'm awfully chipper for some reason.
Yeah, that one seemed awfully phony. Just to be honest.
Maybe it was.
I think Parker's just like this new generation. They've got a little phony in them, George. You know how that goes.
Okay, do we have Terry McCormick?
We have Terry
ready and raring to go. It is time for our daily Titans update. Terry McCormick is, of course, Main Street Media. He is also TitanInsider.com. And he's covering the worst pro football team going. Terry, what is the news?
Well, George, I mean, all the eyes are focused this week on really, other than Myles Garrett and his chase of the sack record, the only angle that anyone cares about with this game is Cam Ward against Shedeur Sanders. And that's kind of, where we took it today when we talked to Cam Ward. And, he said that Shedeur Sanders remains a friend of his and that, he told him that when he dropped in the draft that those things happen, for a reason and that God has a plan for him. And it's going to be interesting to see the two most heralded rookies of this last draft class square off again in the cold of Cleveland on Sunday.
To more important issues, are the Titans privately at all concerned about what they saw Sunday out of Cam Ward?
Well, I think they kind of chalk it up as, it's more growing pains on a bad team from a quarterback who really, is kind of raw in a lot of areas of his game. There's talent there, but a lot of that talent probably hasn't been refined to the level that you'd see a normal number one overall pick have it refined entering the league. And I think, they know that there are going to be ups and downs with Cam Ward. And sure, there's concerns, that he's holding the ball too long or that, he's taking too many sacks and those sorts of things, that maybe weren't as prevalent a couple of weeks ago when they played Seattle. But it's all part of the growth process. And honestly, I don't know how you get a complete and honest assessment of him, given the situation with the lack of talent around and the fact that the coaching staff is probably out the door at the end of the year.
No, they are out the door at the end of the year.
So it's one of those situations where he's just making the best of it, and they're living with the results basically.
Terry, I'll leave it there. Get your arm ready because there's bowling in 363 days.
I'm ready, George.
I believe it. Terry, thank you.
All right. See ya.
Okay, that's Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update. Terry, of course, is Main Street Media, and he is TitanInsider.com. Loaded update that you will hear in 30 seconds after this important message.
Are you tired of living with back pain? What would you do if the pain was gone?
At the Dr. Gill Center, we've helped thousands of people over the last 30 years break free from pain and get back to living life. We're committed to your outcomes, and our caring team listens, understands, and offers real solutions to neuropathy, back pain, and joint pain without unnecessary surgery or medication. Choose the clinic that listens. Choose the clinic that cares. Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838.
Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
This first story is a doozy. Take it away.
Our daily update sponsored by the Tennessee-Illinois basketball game, Saturday, December 6th from Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. George showed me this article.
Hold on a second. Tomorrow night at Sports and Social, we will give away some Tennessee-Illinois tickets.
That's an incentive to go, if you're asking me.
You're darn tootin' it is.
So, George, you showed me this story before we got on the air via The Athletic. Several Ole Miss players have accused Lane Kiffin of lying in his farewell statement. And this is interesting because there was another story on ESPN in which star linebacker Sunterrain Perkins tweeted or reposted what Lane Kiffin put out on Twitter when he said farewell to Ole Miss. And he said, quote, "That was not the message you said in the meeting room. Everybody was in there. Can vouch for this."
So another former Ole Miss player called Lane Kiffin a snake. Now, when you hear this kind of stuff in a story, we're the ones that are supposed to try to be fair. And you're trying to weigh both sides of a he said kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
The problem in this, Kelly, is that Lane Kiffin has a long history of all this. Do I think he's a snake in the mud? I do. Do I think he has not told the truth? If I'm taking a guess, I'm siding with the players. Until I know something really radically different, I believe what the players are putting out there. How about you?
Players always kind of tell the truth about things, George, and he left in such a crazy way. People are going to be upset, but who knows what goes on, George? And unless you were there, you don't totally know. But I'm obviously, me being a player, being in the room. I always tell y'all this on the show, players always know, and normally players always tell the truth about things like that. So I'm with you. I've got to side with players.
I'm going to go a tad bit farther with this. His agent is Jimmy Sexton. Jimmy Sexton has been a friend of mine going back about 40 years to my Memphis State days. Either he didn't listen to Jimmy's advice, or Jimmy's advice of how to play this wasn't what it should have been. Because Kiffin already had this reputation, and honesty was going to get him a lot farther than playing both sides against the middle. And as you read these stories, you realize he was playing with Florida. He was playing with LSU. Now it's getting out that Florida State ended up talking to him at some point. He's a snake in the mud.
It's hard to say this, George, but like it's just it's kind of the sign of the times. It truly is, and it's I am so like my college coach, my quarterback coach. He's just like my dad. I talk to him still every week, and he's in his 80s. And he used to always tell me, one day you'll look back at this and you'll be so happy that you came to the program that you came to because of the way that Coach Donnelly treated players, the way that Coach Donnelly was. And I've told y'all this before: decision making. He was not scared to do that. I don't know if you have any more of those guys like Nick Saban. Like those guys are getting out of it, George, and that's why I said the other day what I said about players. I don't think it phases them one bit that Lane Kiffin's gone. I really don't, because I think they knew what he was. They probably liked him. They enjoyed playing for him, but I think they knew at the end of the day, he's all about Lane. He's all about what's best for him. And I just think guys nowadays, these young men understand that, hey, we're doing the transfer portal, but these coaches move too. And if they leave, hey, we got to keep going about our business. And I think that's the way they're taking it.
He may be a snake in the mud, but he is a really good football coach. And ultimately, that seems to have won out at the end. Parker, what else you got?
College football playoff rankings came out, the penultimate, big word for me.
Mm-hmm.
Vanderbilt is ranked at number 14.
Do you know what it means?
I do, the second to last.
Oh.
Vanderbilt's at number 14 for the fourth consecutive week. And really, these rankings will not change too much by now in Selection Sunday. So, using common sense and context clues, Vanderbilt's out.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it later. Got a lot of things to get into. In the end, I believe the committee kind of farted on Vandy and just said, nice story, we don't care. I don't think they ever really gave Vanderbilt the serious consideration that they probably have done other schools, but we'll get into that later in the show.
In other Vanderbilt news, it is official. Jared Curtis signed with Vanderbilt earlier this morning.
So, very private ceremony. In the 35 years that I've been a sports talk show host, I have not done a lot of recruiting. Recruiting for me kind of puts me to sleep. I really don't care. I used to make funny commercials about Billy Joe Biff Bob's uncle said that Bobby Joe's going to, wherever. And but this one's a little bit different. Number one, he's a 5-star, and Vandy hasn't been in the 5-star world in the past. Secondly, he's considered the best quarterback in the country, and he's committed and decommitted a bunch. So the story's got some legs to it. His high school coach is Jeff Brothers. Jeff will join us here in just a few moments. And then young William, Billy will join us at 3:40. Oh,
Young Will,
special.
young Williams coming back. That'll be a great one.
Yes.
I think he's recovered from strep throat. Hopefully.
He's 12.
Supposedly. Diego Pavia has called for an executive order from President Trump for a 16-team playoff.
Whatever.
Not really surprised.
Now, he'll probably get his wish a year from now, 2 years from now. Not now.
They're going to expand, that's for sure.
At some point.
Georgia Tech, a.k.a. George Plaster's favorite team, they extended their head coach today, Brent Key. He got a 5-year extension with the Yellow Jackets that'll run through 2030.
My favorite team?
Your favorite team. You may be wearing a Vanderbilt Legends sweatshirt, but we all know where your allegiance lies.
No, let's just say that I pay a lot of attention to Georgia Tech, more than most schools. That guy, Kelly, and I don't know him, I've never met him, but that guy did a hell of a job, because at the end, Georgia Tech was about out of gas. And I think he got as close to 100% out of that team as you could.
Great year. He had a great year in what he's done with the program. Obviously, he played there as an O-lineman, but what he's done with the program, he's made people take a notice of them where in the last decade it has not been that way. So he's got them to a different level now. Now, can he do what Clark Lee is doing, and can he take them to another level? We'll see.
George, I'm going to get to what you told me to get to here in a second, but I just got some more coaching stuff to get through. James Franklin had a signing day celebration at Virginia Tech, and the desserts that were handed out was crumble cookie. And I think that's kind of ironic because crumble is exactly what Penn State is doing right now. They have the 150th ranked recruiting class with 2 commits standing, and they just went after Jeff Brom from Louisville, and Jeff Brom turned them down.
Hey, put the last comment up there, because whoever put that up there, you're right. I couldn't think of the right words on it. You're a snake in the grass and a stick in the mud. Thank you. So Brom turned them down. Look, to me, Penn State, I don't know what they're doing AD-wise, but it seems like they're grasping at straws now. Please take our job. And that fan base could be hacked.
George, let me ask y'all something. Do you think it has anything to do? Because used to they were an independent long ago when Joe Paterno was there and they won a lot of national championships. But do you think a little bit of it has to do with James Franklin, the job that he did, but he still could not get past Ohio State and Michigan?
Might be. That may well be. That may require us to go up there at some point, get somebody on to talk about it.
3 rapid fires on the coaching carousel. Cal is targeting Oregon defensive coordinator Tosh Lupoi. They fired Justin Wilcox last week. USF is going after Ohio State offensive coordinator Brian Hartline. I believe that deal has already been signed. And Kansas State's Chris Kleiman retired, and now they're going to target former Wildcat quarterback Colin Klein, who's the offensive coordinator at Texas A&M.
Yeah. You can take that one to the bank. That's going to happen.
Yes.
We done?
Last thing. This is the one you wanted me to get to. Lipscomb beat Tennessee Tech 83-80. Kelly, I want your thoughts.
Tennessee Tech in basketball?
They played at 11 in the morning.
They played at 11 in the morning.
School day.
Oh, did they? That was a school day.
Great.
All I know is this. When you go to a school day, you better bring some earplugs.
Yes. So the most important thing we have learned in the update: snake in the grass, stick in the mud. Why couldn't I think of that?
Sometimes when you're on the air, things just escape, you know.
I butchered
it. Happens to Kelly all the time.
George, those telomeres you got going on in your head, man, you're getting a little older. They're not connected much anymore.
That is not it. Hey, let me do one thing before we go to the break. I didn't do this yesterday. You hear me do a commercial that's on tape every day about the folks at Strike and Spare. Well, Monday is exactly why I want those people handling my Plaster and Friends celebrity bowling night. There are a bunch of moving pieces, a bunch of kids coming in at 3:00. They're all eating pizza. They're wired. You know, they've had all kinds of soft drinks and stuff, and they're bowling, and they got the thing. What do they call the guardrails on the lanes? It's hysterical.
I probably
to
should
watch.
have used those on Monday.
It's hysterical to watch kids go from one guardrail to the next, to the next, to the next. Then you got about 350 people coming in over the next 4 hours. Good buffet. What I'm getting at is this. What I say in the commercial is not a bunch of bull. Man, they took care of us. Philip Cox, Mark Hubbock, Larry Schmittou. That's why I do that event where I do it. We'll go to the break. Yes, Kelly.
George, they do a great job. You're absolutely right. But you know the other reason you're doing it? Because you want to keep getting invited to the Larry Schmittou breakfast at Cracker Barrel. That's why you're saying that.
Sounds like a good reason. I could mess up a Cracker Barrel breakfast.
You are a snake in the mud.
Snake in the grass, stick in the mud.
Stick in the grass.
Absolutely. We'll go to the break. When we come back, we will talk with Jared Curtis's high school coach, Former Vandy quarterback Jeff Brothers is in the On Deck Circle, even if I can't talk. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Okay, we are back on this Wednesday afternoon. In a moment, we will be joined by Nashville Christian head football coach Jeff Brothers. In fact, I'm told he is with us right now. His team will compete for a state title tomorrow at 3 p.m. against University School of Jackson. And Jeff, right off the bat, let's say good luck tomorrow. Bring home a win.
Well, I appreciate it, George. It's good to be talking to you about such things. So hopefully we're done.
So you know why we wanted you on today, which was to talk about your star quarterback, Jared Curtis. Kind of tell people the first time it hit you, oh, my God, this kid is special.
Jared's been here for a while. I think he's 8 years here. I heard the other day. So as a young, early middle school kid, you could just tell that he was a great competitor. Just on the playground, in basketball and PE, and on middle, fifth and sixth grade football teams. I mean, he just was a tremendous competitor, and you could tell he was a good athlete, but you didn't really know, at that age, going to grow, what they're going to develop into from a skill set standpoint. And so through middle school, he actually came in as a running back and decided he could throw a ball around pretty good. So decided he wanted to take some lessons. And so he went to some training and realized that he had a pretty good gift for just, the release of the ball and good arm strength, but still just a little guy, and then an 8th grade split time with another guy that we have, Bryson Holtz, who's actually our slot receiver and defensive back on this team as well. And in 8th grade, they split time quarterback, and you still were just, you could see the possibilities, but you're not really sure. Freshman year really grew physically, going into his freshman year and was ready to compete for the job, but we didn't really, until you get in the huddle and the lights are on and the score matters and, first and 10, there's another guy over there or another group over there trying to stop. You don't know how you're going to compete. And we found out in the second half of the first game his freshman year, we put him in down to FRA at that time at halftime. And we said, well, we don't have anything to worry, to lose at this point. We're already behind, so let's put him in and see what happens. And he brought us back to the point where on fourth down with a minute to go, he threw one of those run into his right, jump off his leg, throw it back across the field, passes to a guy who was wide open in the end zone for what would have been the touchdown, and the guy dropped it. So we knew that he had that ability, and then we had something to work with, at that point. So early his freshman year.
Jeff, as you know,
that's a long answer to a short question.
No, that was a good answer. I liked it. As you know better than I do, his recruiting process has been complicated. There's been some Georgia, there's been some Oregon, and now there's Vandy. I'm old enough to remember that you were once a Vanderbilt quarterback because I was your announcer. When was the first time he came to you and said, I want to think about Vandy?
Yeah, well, the whole process is so public now anyway, because every little bit of information is fodder for Twitter and, this service and that service getting information out and wanting to scoop. So, somebody was at a game or somebody got a phone call or somebody, that kind of stuff. So it's hard to just kind of, navigate that process as a young man. And so I think he's done that expertly, first of all, with all of the spotlight and all the scrutiny and all of the reporting of every little twitch that he makes towards the college. And so he was early on really impressed with Georgia, and they did a good job with him. And Todd actually did a great job when he was the OC there. And that's when Jared initially committed. And just along the way, just kind of realized, I did that pretty early. I haven't really seen a lot of other things. Now I'm paying a little more attention into my junior year of other programs and what's out there. And do I really want to not have seen what I could, use to judge the information on? And so he said, I don't want to go visit without seeing other places. So he decommitted from Georgia and decided to go and check some things out. Well, then he comes back, this summer. And it was between Oregon and Georgia. And he finally said, Georgia, I'm going to stick with Georgia. And then the season started. Vanderbilt started doing what they were doing. And then there was a lot of buzz about that. And then there was a lot of interest from just in what they're doing offensively. And, of course, watching Diego play. And there's the similar sort of moxie that they play with. And it was just curious to him. Like, is that just him or is that them? And it's a combination of both, as we know. And became curious about midway through the season. I was like, I kind of think I might just at least want to check that one out. I've been here the whole time and on the road, and I haven't seen it yet. I kind of like what's going on. So, what do you think? And I said, buddy, you hold all the cards right now until you get the paper. So whatever you want to do, wherever you want to go. I mean, I've taken him to Michigan. I've taken him, wherever he was wanting to go, and his parents have taken him all over. And so this one's, 8 miles away. So you might as well run over there and check it out if you want to. And so he did, and took an interest in it, and it kind of went from there.
Jeff, I think I know you well enough, the integrity that you have. There are a lot of people that may not know the backstory. They know you were a quarterback at Vandy. They may not know that your mom was an employee in Vanderbilt athletics for, 40 plus years.
38 years.
If you didn't know Beverly Brothers, then you'd never walked in McGugin Center. How hard was it for you to do what a coach needs to do, which is listen, but stay kind of neutral?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you bringing that up, because I know a lot of people have kind of inserted me into the narrative of this in various ways. And to answer your question, it's not hard because I've been doing this time. I've been mentored by some great men in this business. And I realized that my job is to stay in my lane, to answer the questions the boys have when they have them, to not try to steer them. When I had, Golden Tate, was recruited by Vanderbilt. And Alex Gibbons, who's been a tackle here that started at Ole Miss for 3 years, he was recruited by Vanderbilt. Daniel Batuli was recruited by Vanderbilt. We've had along the way that, of course, in the back recesses, I would love to have somebody, to go play. I've had, Wesley Tate did go and play at Vanderbilt, and I was super proud of that. But Golden did not, and that was totally okay. And in this situation, sort of the same thing came about. And I told Jared early on, and he knows we have a great relationship, obviously. And I said, look, buddy, I'm going to stay in my lane. If you want to go do this, I'm happy to take you over there because I'll take you anywhere you want to go anyway. But this is between you and them. And, I'll support whatever decision you make. I've maintained all along that whatever he wants to do has got to be his decision because he's the kid that's going to wake up in February when there's nobody else around and it's dark outside and he's got to go to workouts. And then it ain't about what I want or what anybody else wants. It's about what he wants to be, and he's got to be committed to go do it. And he understood that from day one. I mean, that's never come up between us. It's never been an issue. And am I excited? Am I really, proud that my university and our quarterback are going to be, together in this process? Of course, that's a lot of fun. It did not have any influence, from my perspective. And it's just been fun to be a part of.
Kelly, I know you're listening to this very interested because in your coaching life, you've dealt with some of this as well. So take it away.
Coach Brothers, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Hey, congrats on being. I did y'all's game last year. Congrats on being there again. But hey, I want to ask this because you're the first high school coach, and I've talked to high school coaches obviously about all this. But I want to know just how recruiting has changed in the last couple of years with all the NIL and the transfer portal stuff. And a lot of times, of course, obviously your kid is Jared Curtis is one of the top recruits in the country, and he's going to get all the notoriety. But there's a lot of kids that are getting left out right now. So just explain to everybody just how much recruiting has changed over the last 2 or 3 years.
Well, the biggest thing I've seen over the last few years is how they contact and communicate with the recruits themselves and what they communicate about. It used to be that they went through the high school coaches because that was really the main channel. Nowadays, there are so many third-party trainers and agents and, various other people that are connected that they try to use to get to the kids because they think that would be the major influence or that would be the most direct connection or that would be the way they could communicate without it being against the rules kind of thing. And so how they get in touch, stay in touch, and communicate all the details is changed a lot. And unfortunately for us that are coaches, we don't have a lot of, I don't have the temperature for a lot of these guys. Someone will come to me and say, hey, coach, I got an offer from such and such place. I said, well, okay, great. But I've never heard from any of those guys. And is that real? Can you commit? How do you know it's an offer? Who told you that? That kind of stuff has become more and more prevalent. And that's unfortunate because not that I have to be involved or in control of their situations, but I want to be able to speak wisdom and advice to them in the process. And a lot of times we're left out of the process. Fortunately for Jared, and credit to Jared, he has a circle of trust and he communicates well with us. And because of who he is and how large it is, they do come to us and they have been on campus and we've stayed in really good contact with everybody that's recruited him. And then you get into, like you said, the NIL stuff. We have no part. And I told Jared, he came to me after his sophomore year and we were sitting in the office and he said, Coach, what do you think about NIL? And I said, I'll tell you 2 things. Number one, I don't like it. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't think it's right for people in high school. I don't think it's right for people in college, but that's not my argument. And this is the world. Now, here's number 2. Here's the world we live in. It's available. So should you take advantage of the opportunity to market yourself and profit from your talent and your abilities? Absolutely. So here's what I would advise. Surround yourself with people that don't get anything out of it except being able to love on you and give you good advice. Go slow and don't get anything you can't get out of. And that's where we started. And then, he found, was connected with Peter Webb, who's his agent, who does a tremendous job and is an amazing man, first of all, and does a great job with Jared and understands the landscape and also the perspective that is important for an 18-year-old, at that time, 17-year-old kid to have in all this process. And there are muddy waters out there, and but it's the world we live in. So you got to learn how to navigate it and deal with it. And I think the fact that Jared has done it as humbly and as wisely as he has is one, a reflection of the people he surrounded himself with, and 2, a reflection of him, the kid himself.
Coach, what do you have to tell a kid not like a Jared Curtis who is not, he's good enough to play, and in years past he's getting recruited, but now he's not. I tell kids all the time, and even when I was over at Riverdale, I mean, you just have to go keep playing football. But now you're having some of these kids that you're coaching that are good enough to go play somewhere, and they're good enough to go play somewhere, but they're not getting any looks, they're not getting any recognition. And what is your advice to those guys? Just go somewhere, maybe it's an FCS school or maybe a Division II. Just go somewhere and play. Is that kind of what you're saying to them?
Yeah. I think it's tragic what's happened because of the rules that have changed at the upper levels and have been pushed down now to affect the members of the lower levels, like high school kids. And we have college coaches in here all the time and say, look, I'm sorry, but we're gonna sign 5 linemen and they're all gonna be out of the portal because we need guys that have already had some experience in practices and have already matured physically, and we're just not gonna take any high school linemen. And we've got 3 high school linemen that can play in a lot of places. But what do you tell them? You know exactly what you're saying. And so what we tell our guys, first and foremost, you got to understand what college football is a commitment to a full-time job. Like you have to work at this at whatever level you're going to play. And if you think it only requires that kind of commitment at the Power 5 or Power 4 level, whatever it is now, you're wrong. I mean, it's NAIA all the way up, Division III, Division II. You got to go work. You got to go put in the time. The best thing to do right now, I think, go somewhere where you're wanted at whatever level that is. Because if you can go and if you are better than where you think you're going, then go prove yourself. And there's nothing that's going to stop you from being an all-conference player at Sewanee and then being able to use that to get into a portal to jump to another level if you feel like you deserve it or have earned it. And the path is different now. You don't just go into a developmental state of, I'm going to either A, sign with, a team that may or may not really think I'm good enough to do it, or B, I'm going to walk on at a high-level program to see if I can earn a spot. Man, go somewhere where you can get on the field. Go play. Go put film out there. Everybody has an opportunity to put themselves in a portal and be seen, and then earn a scholarship a year later, 2 years later. It's where you finish, not where you start. And it's going to be hard to retrain the mind of not just the players, but their parents. Because, we all grew up in a generation where recruiting was a whole different process. And signing meant I'm going to go and be patient. I might redshirt. I might, have to earn some scout team reps first. And, now they're just looking for time on the field so that they can use that as a stepping stone to whatever next opportunities out there. And while I don't love it and think it's sort of a bad business model, that's where we live. And so that's the way to go.
Jeff, want to thank you on short notice for doing this. Again, congratulations on what your team has already accomplished. Look forward to you being a state champion by about 5:30 tomorrow, and would love to do this again sometime later after the season is over, because you've got great stuff, great perspective on what's really going on.
Well, I appreciate that, and I hope you're right about the championship, and I certainly am looking forward to anytime you guys want to have me. I'd love to be on the show, man. You do a great job. Known you for a long time, and really love and respect who you are and what you do, buddy.
Jeff, thank you. Good talking to you.
All right, guys, take care.
That's Jeff Brothers, the coach at Nashville Christian. He is Coach Jared Curtis, who today, once and for all, did commit to Vandy. We'll talk with Billy Derrick after the break and find out what's been going on behind the scenes. Has there been more than just that banner at the Missouri game that said, "Hey, Jared, who you with? VU." That banner, whoever put that together, really cracked me up. Is pretty good.
Nate Bargatze too. He was asking for Jared Curtis to come, and he got his wish.
Nobody asked for me to go.
No.
They
asked for you to leave,
yes,
but not to go.
Stay tuned. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve. Smashville Hockey. We're Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a race and sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time. Here's Officer Darren Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Okay, we are back on this Wednesday afternoon. Beautiful day at the moment, and we enjoy beautiful day because the last couple have been kind of yucky. So when I think back to recruiting stories in 35 years of doing this in a sports talk business, Ron Mercer obviously is the one I probably paid the most attention to. I'll never forget Rick Byrd telling me that Ron Mercer could have played as an 8th grader at Belmont. I was like, wow. This one has got a little bit of that to it with a lot of twists and turns. I've asked Billy Derrick to join us. Kelly, I know you're thrilled to see Billy, and let's bring him up. What would you like to say to young William?
Young William, are you feeling better? Did mommy give you some warm milk the other night when you had a little sore throat?
I'm feeling a little bit better, but I can't feel my nose. I feel like I've got kicked in the face by a horse the last 2 days, but we're battling through, and glad to be on. I miss you, Kelly.
You probably not only feel like it, but you look like you've been kicked by a horse, Billy.
I know. It's like I can't.
It's coming out swinging.
I don't think Kelly's wrong on that one.
So let's get to the business at hand in this. How much of this change in this story is that Gunnar Stockton, number one, was way better than anybody thought he'd be, and secondly, that it's kind of gotten out there that he's coming back?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was all set in stone that Stockton would be coming back, even at the beginning of Jared Curtis's recruitment. But about halfway through the season, and I was listening in there, Coach Brothers, Vanderbilt was winning. After that LSU win, they get game day, and Curtis is watching Pavia, and he kind of gets excited. And Pavia, I think Pavia was a big part of this recruitment too. I know he went to at least a couple of games this year at Nashville Christian, and Clark actually talked about that today, how big of a factor that can be when you have a guy like a Pavia recruiting, a guy like Jared Curtis to your team. But yeah, I think, Curtis, the decision for him is, hey, go to Georgia and wait for a couple of years behind Stockton, and then Ryan Puglisi as well, a guy that's also pretty good, and then or start at Vanderbilt from day one. I mean, look, he will start from day one. That's the deal there. But you've also got Blaze Berlowitz back there as a guy that knows the offense, and Curtis will early enroll, so he'll be around Pavia and Beck and those guys. So I think for Vanderbilt, the hope is that it's a seamless transition. Now, it won't be seamless. It's a huge leap to make, but as Coach Brothers said, that he plays a lot like Pavia. And yeah, I think a lot of it, George, it was the fact that Stockton will be back next year. Same thing with Puglisi and Curtis. It was going to be the Arch Manning path, really, to sit for the first couple of years.
Billy, let's go at this from different routes. I've tried to put myself in his position, 17, 18 years old, and stuff being thrown at him that I never had to deal with as a goofball at BGA. And so he's committed to Georgia twice and decommitted twice. He's committed to Oregon once and decommitted. Is this a red flag at all, or is this just simply being 17 and not being the age I am, which we will not discuss?
I mean, I think there's a few things to worry about if you're Vanderbilt. Number one, he's 17, like you said. He's a young kid, and you're handing the reins to him, immediately. Now, the good thing is, like I mentioned, you've got Blaze Berlowitz back there, a guy that, say Curtis gets hurt, say he throws 2-3 interceptions in the first half. You can hand it to Berlowitz, sit Curtis, and say, hey, let's relax a little bit. So you've got that safety valve there. And look, I think the Georgia deal was, and he moved it up. He moved his commitment date up, I think, because number one, he didn't want to have to answer all the questions after the state championship game about, hey, where are you going? Right. You just, there's all these rumors going around, but also, he doesn't, I don't think he wants the Georgia media and the Georgia fans to continue to sort of have chances to just bombard him. Vanderbilt on the Vanderbilt side, he can do things his way. And, it's been messy. I don't think he wanted it to come out as early as it did yesterday. He wanted to make the private announcement today, but that's how it goes in recruiting. And Brothers hit on that too, that it's hard for these kids. It gets in a reporter's hands and boom, that's really all they need to be able to tweet it out or put a report out and say, hey, here's where this kid is going. He's flipping. So, I think it's a messy exit. I don't think Vanderbilt, personality-wise, has a ton to worry about. But, again, there's going to be a lot of maturing. I think he's physically, people have said he's physically ready to play now.
Oh, I've seen him. He sure looks the part.
He's trucking dudes. Kelly was, watched his state title game last year. Some of his clips are insane. And so I think he's physically ready. But you make a good point, George. Mentally, can Pavia sort of pass the baton in a way and say, hey, this is your team now, right? He's probably going to wear number 2 as well. You got some Vandy fans out there saying they need to retire it, but I just think it's a perfect storm for Vanderbilt to be able to take advantage of a guy like Curtis.
Okay, where is the Pavia piece in this? Is this a, hey, I'm Jared Curtis, will you come to my game? Or is this, hey, I'm Diego, me and my brothers are coming to your game? How did all that start?
Well, I've heard that he's a big fan of Pavia's, and he'll DM him, text him, and he's watching him. But if you're a high school kid and you play quarterback in Nashville, how would you not watch Pavia and look at him and say, man, I'd love to be able to put on for Vanderbilt. Pavia's did things that nobody's ever done at Vanderbilt, and so I think it was kind of the Curtis to Pavia side of things where they built a little bit of relationship. Pavia came out to a couple of his games. Pavia starts to say, hey, you'd look good in black and gold. It's in today's day and age, Kelly, look, you've been a part of recruiting with your son and even you as a player. A lot of it is, hey, do whatever it takes. Especially right now too. And so I think for Pavia, he loves the program too. It's not just, and people, I think there's a bad rap with Pavia that, it's all about him. And he's talking all about him winning the Heisman and take me to New York and all that. But I think it's just, he loves the program, and Clarkley gave him an opportunity. And obviously with Beck and Kill, and he wants to continue to try to elevate the program. But yeah, I think it started with Curtis just, taking a likening to Pavia and just loving his game and being a fan. And all of a sudden he's here.
Okay. Last thing from me. If we had had this conversation in late August, who's going to replace Pavia? Well, who's going to be in the portal and where will Vandy be in it? Best as you can tell, before Jared Curtis had the sign come up that said, hey, Jared, Who you with? VU? Who were they targeting mentally, whether that person has entered a portal or not? Who were they targeting? Because it ain't Blake Berkowitz or whatever his name is.
Blake
He ain't
Berkowitz,
it. Yeah, he ain't it.
Yeah, there's a quarterback at Old Dominion. I don't know if you've watched him at all, George. And he went in and beat Virginia Tech, I think, a couple of weeks after Vanderbilt did. Colton Joseph, obviously now he's not coming to Vanderbilt. That was a kid that had been on our radar of a guy that Vanderbilt, had at least contacted and looked into. But outside of that, I hadn't heard a whole lot. People talk about Kenny Minchie, the Notre Dame backup, as a guy that could be a potential add, as a guy that fits too, would fit in the offense. And then a couple other guys, I forget the other player that Vanderbilt had talked about, but it was really the kid from Old Dominion. Minchie had been talked about. And then, Andre Adams, the guy from Antioch as a high school player, even before Curtis, like before the Curtis talk even started, Andre Adams, Chris Lee went up to see him play at Antioch and he was stunned by what he saw. And we started kind of tracking that. But then Curtis comes onto the scene and we're like, okay, they're not going after Adams anymore if they're going to land Curtis. So that's
ended that.
Yeah. And they are different classes. Adams is, so that would have been Adams 27. So that would have been a little bit further down the road, but yeah, the Old Dominion quarterback, and then Minchie. But outside of that, I think once the Curtis talk started, it was Curtis the whole time.
Okay, Kelly, I've hogged it. So are we going question or insult?
No, I'm just sitting here. This is where I have a problem with all this stuff because we're sitting here talking like he's the second coming, and he's a really good player, and he's one of the top recruits in the country. But and I watched him play last year. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's a big kid. He can move. He can truck people, like you said. But you really don't know if that's going to translate, and I think it will, obviously. But now you've got quarterbacks,
right?
There are no guarantees. And what if he gets hurt, and then you get like the NFL because now, George is hearing it. I'm hearing it. Everybody's hearing it. Well, the NIL's coming. They're getting people that's giving money. And if he gets a lot of money, then you've got to play him as Clark Lee. Because now you've got guys on the roster. I think Muschamp's son's on the roster. So what are they thinking? Because you're bringing this guy in as the next coming, and are these guys going to get into the portal? Because we know how kids are. They don't want to compete anymore, and we know how the game is played right now with all the money, and he's commanding all the money. He was he's going to Georgia, going to Oregon, and now he's at Vanderbilt. So everybody's saying, well, he's going to get the keys to the Cadillac. I just don't know if it's that easy, Billy.
Yeah, I'm with you in that. Look, this could blow up. I mean, this could easily. Dylan Raiola hasn't necessarily been a grand slam at Nebraska. You look at Bryce Underwood this past year. Michigan went 9-3. And they've got some talent around him. Does Vanderbilt have the pieces around him? I think that's the question. The offensive coordinator Tim Beck is a wizard. I've tried to tell people that. I think people, I think all of you guys would agree with that. How does Tim Beck use him in the offense? I think if you're Beck, you probably don't do as many designed runs just because he is a freshman, but he can run it as well. But this should attract some portal receivers because last year, Kelly, the struggle for Vanderbilt was that, hey, receivers don't want to come play within this offense, right? Because they're not throwing it all around the yard. But in the second half of the season, Vanderbilt proved that they could throw it around the yard. And in the air raid second half against Texas, and then same thing against Kentucky and Tennessee. So I think it's just up to Beck and their offenses. Kelly's still mad he didn't go to Vandy. I think it's just it's great. That's a good one. I think look, it's going to be a challenge, but at the end of the day, I think Vanderbilt trusts Tim Beck, their offensive coordinator, and you got to get some weapons, right? You got to have some weapons for them. You got to keep Curtis upright. They got to go out and get 4 or 5 new offensive linemen as well. But I think the trust that his. If this was any old offensive coordinator, I don't think Curtis comes here, but he can see himself having success in Tim Beck's offense.
So Billy, point blank, does he start next year opening day?
Yes.
No, there's no thought, no question. He's the guy.
I mean, look, if he just blows up in fall camp and looks horrible, then maybe you start Berlowitz the first 2-3 games. But he's going to be an early enrollee. I've heard he'll be there in practice for the bowl game and maybe even play in the bowl game. These are great comments.
These comments are hilarious.
I love it. That's awesome.
I miss the chat room. I miss the chat room.
That's funny.
No, look, I think he does. Because he'll be early enrollee. These guys can. It's like Nico. Remember Nico at Tennessee, early enrolled, Parker, and I think he played in that bowl game.
Yeah,
and you had him ready and raring to go. So you can get freshmen ready a lot earlier now.
Okay, I think we ended here. Other than, do you have any questions you want to ask Billy about how to put up with certain people?
Yeah, Billy, how do you put up with Kelly on a regular basis? I semi enjoyed his presence at the bowling night, but outside of that, it hasn't been smooth sailing.
I told Billy, I told Stan Harrison to tell Parker that he'd come back on the air with us if Billy would come back.
George, I told you the other day when I talked to Billy, Billy said, well, I'm just feeling bad. I've got strep throat. And I said, Billy, I had strep throat when I was 12. Grow up. I mean, good gracious, dude. Now I get it. Now I'm going to Chattanooga to do all these state championship games, and because I just made fun of you, I'll probably have strep throat.
Yeah,
that's just the way it goes. I'm going to have to knock on wood.
Yeah, you better. But I would say, Parker, you've got to come up with your own witty responses to Kelly, and then get Kelly laughing at himself, and then you get the viewers laughing too, and so it just becomes you have your role.
That's a good way.
And then Kelly has his, and George can do whatever the hell he does.
Who knows what George does? So sometimes we don't know.
Billy, enjoy these minutes because you're never coming on again.
Hey, how was the bowling night? Was it good?
Bowling night was great. Can we throw a picture up there?
I don't have it ready to go.
Oh, well, whatever.
I saw some of them online. It looked like it was good. So
it was a lot of fun.
All right, guys.
I think everybody had a good time. Billy, thank you as always.
Hey, Billy, how about getting out in the sunshine a little bit? You know what I'm saying?
Get out in the sunshine a little bit.
I mean, good gracious, that forehead of yours, dude, you got to get some sun on it, Hoss.
Hey, go play in traffic, Hoss.
We'll go to the break on that. When we start the 4:00 hour, Scott Ramsey from the Music City Bowl will join us. This is the George Plaster Show. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up, 615-793-9500, or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Here's David Levy of Levy's Men's and Women's Wear in Green Hills.
Hey, George. As a 170-year-old clothier, we are loaded for the holiday season with great gift items for you or your significant other. Plus, we have front door parking, experienced associates to answer your questions, free gift wrap, and we are surprisingly affordable, even for you. This holiday season, treat yourself to a touch of luxury without any of the fuss. Levy's Green Hills, 3900 Hillsborough Pike, across from Virtus and behind Donut Den.
Now time for our stat of the day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. It appears Kelly has taken a bathroom break, or oh no, he's coming back. So,
well, that's
George,
exciting.
I was getting ready to
why
say,
would you put that out there?
well, I don't know. I was going to tell you that you would be on your own for this one, but Kelly has decided, out of the kindness of his heart, to rejoin us.
Okay, little broadcast.
George, you understand that Parker's got loose lips. He don't know when to shut up sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe these loose lips will help me deal with you.
Wow. Can we,
probably not.
Children, can we get to stat of the day?
I guess, if we must. With losses yesterday, it's looking like Kentucky and Kansas are both at risk of falling out of the AP top 25. When was the last time both of these teams were not in the top 25?
Okay,
good gracious.
I'm going to go with something like when Patino first got to Kentucky, when CM hired him, 91-ish, somewhere in that area.
That sounds good to me, George.
Yeah, go with it.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I actually remember
2021?
that, yeah.
Boy, I really don't remember
Was
that.
this the year that Kansas was like one of the last teams to get in the tournament too?
You might be right.
Yeah.
That's a great question. We didn't have a very good answer.
Florida
had
their third loss of the season last night at Duke.
Yeah.
So
the
defending national champs.
Barn burner at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, officially, we welcome all of you into the 4 o'clock hour from our digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. This is the perfect time to bring Scott Ramsey to our microphones. He has been the executive director of the Music City Bowl for ever and ever and ever, from the first day of it, from game one when we had all kinds of crazy sleet and snow over at Vanderbilt Stadium when Alabama and Virginia Tech played. That was not good weather.
No, it was not. George, can you see Scott?
I can see Scott.
Because I can't.
Okay,
I see that he's in here, and
so are you able to punch him up?
Yeah, it's just a black screen though. But we have Scott, and I tried adding him to the stage, and it's just a black screen.
Scott, congratulations on being a blank stare.
Oh, he's going to rejoin.
Okay, we'll give it a try here in just a second. Part of the reason I want to get him on, obviously on Sunday, all of the bowl decisions end up getting made. You find out who's in the playoff, who isn't, and then the bowl stuff kind of falls into place. But I think the selection process of bowls is way different than it used to be, and that's where I wanted to get Scott. That's where we will go when we start it, because, Kelly, I'm not sure I know anymore exactly how this sausage is made.
I'm not sure I know either, George. And it's with all the bowl games they have, I can't wait to ask him a couple of questions, but with all the bowl games they have, who knows nowadays? And I think that they've done a good job. They've done such a good job with the Music City Bowl, with promoting it and getting really good teams here in the Nashville area. But with this new college football playoff scenery, can they keep it? Can they keep the momentum going with these bowl games? That's what I keep asking. I'm just not sure, George. You know, I think the fans are at a point where if you don't make the 12-team playoff, they're going to say, "Well, we're not very good. You're losers, and we're not coming to the game." You're going to have some people do that anyway, but it's just a hard sell now, seems to me.
I think it's very unfortunate where it's going. I think one thing that's going to happen, your minor bowls are probably going to survive how the ones up toward the top that end up not being part of the playoff, who knows?
Right. And do they lop into maybe part because you've talked about this, George? You said it a couple of weeks ago when you get to host a game. Maybe a bowl goes in with that. I don't know. It's just going to be neat to see how that works.
Scott, it's even better to see you than normal.
I don't know about that, George. I've never heard that before, but I appreciate it.
Well, I'm just glad we were able to get you in here. So tell people about the new sponsor of the Music City Bowl.
Yeah, Liberty Mutual. I think everybody's seen and heard of them. I think from our seat and anybody that's kind of been in the seat where, trying to recruit and to sell a corporate sponsor for an event, boy, if you can get a Fortune 100 company that invests into your city, they 110-year-old company based in Boston. Obviously, we know the Limu ads and all that kind of stuff and their investment, from an advertising perspective. But for them to step up, especially with the uncertainty of college football and postseason, to want to invest in Nashville and our game, we're really excited about. And we're excited about introducing them on December 30th to a national TV audience. And so far, the playing is going well, and I think everybody's going to be really excited about how much they've invested in our game.
Well, I think it's the most underrated, really good bowl in America that doesn't get up to cotton and sugar and orange and all that. But this one has stood the test of time with really good crowds for a long time. Scott, what I wanted to get to at the beginning is we talked about it before you came on. We don't really know anymore how the teams get selected. You do, and it's a lot different than it used to be.
Oh, man. George, I know we don't really have a time limit on this show, which is good for this conversation, but it really has changed. I think to say it's changed is an understatement, but look at college football. I mean, I'm going to go back to we signed a 6-year agreement with the SEC, the Big Ten, ESPN, and boy, we were excited about that in 2019. So all the bowls lined up at that time with a 6-year agreement that ESPN had for the CFP with a 4-team playoff that ended in 2025 this year. So over that 6-year period now, we've seen changes from COVID cancellation to 12-team playoff instead of a 4-team, which changed your whole selection model that you agreed to 5 years ago. Transfer portal, the dissolution of the Pac-12, where 5 bowls had Pac-12 alignment, to where you had kind of a patchwork selection process, to a real shift from hopefully you had enough teams with opt-outs and coaching changes and everything else that kind of fill the requirements contractually to get us to the finish line of the contract, which is this year. So it's really been a very, difficult 5 years to kind of manage the business side of the bowl because what we planned on for a 6-year business cycle has really just turned into a bunch of 1-year changes that we've had to absorb. And really, we're kind of sitting in the same position as we look forward. I know the question was how to select the teams, but that's changed as well. I mean, I think, just look at this year. I mean, we're sitting here on the SEC side, and obviously last night's rankings with Alabama jumping up to 9 maybe changed this a little bit. But with Alabama sitting at 10, we were running through a lot of cycles where they could be in the CFP, they could be out of the CFP. And whether that's a BYU win, whether that's a vote, whether that's a blowout, whether that's a change of mind, whatever it is, we were trying to plan for either or of something that we couldn't control on Sunday. That changed the whole dynamic of kind of maybe where the matchups fall, where teams fit. You could have 5 teams in the SEC where we signed a contract 5 years ago with a 14 playoff. You're thinking 1, maybe 2 at the most. So it was a whole different dynamic. And, now it's a pretty equal input in the conference office in the SEC from the schools and from the bowls and from the opponent conference, so which is, in our case, the Big Ten, just trying to put the best matchup you can in the cities in the best year. So I think more importantly, I think Nashville is a desired destination is kind of where we're sitting in the whole thing. last year, Missouri, Iowa, we had a little over 40,000 people, but I'm telling you, it's getting really difficult to get more than 40 in the stands now. And, you complicate that with the way the ticket sales have changed in those 5 years from, man, we used to send 7,000 or 10,000 tickets to a school and they used to send it out. Now their allotment's 3,000. Everything's online. I might as well wait and see where my team goes, and I'll buy in the secondary market or online. So just the whole marketing process for a one-time event has changed. So there's been a lot of absorption of a significant business model shift in the last 5 years. So, but I say that all in that I'm not sure I'd like to switch places with anybody else in our industry and for our city of what we've got ahead of us. I think we've proven that we can host big events. We've proven that college football and college sports in general is a great destination here. We've got a brand new stadium coming online. We've got engagement in the community, and now we've got a sponsor. It's a Fortune 100 company that's investing in our city that I think we're in great position to go forward with. Sorry for the long answer.
No, look, I knew it would be, because it is a complicated deal, and people want to hear this stuff. Here's the other one they want to hear. Are either Tennessee or Vandy in the Mix Music City Bowl, or is that ship kind of sailed?
No, I think Tennessee's in our mix this year. I would say Vandy is not at 10-2. I think I think when you look at again, let's play the Alabama situation out of either 4 or 5 teams of the SEC getting pulled up. And then you look at the Citrus, you look at Tampa, you look at Jacksonville, Houston, and Nashville. And in some combination, you could have Vanderbilt, Texas, Tennessee, Missouri, who we had last year, and LSU, and then the Alabama wild card. So that's kind of the scenarios we're playing out, George. I feel like, it's probably a little more scenarios play to Tennessee this year, but it's certainly a lot of things could happen between now and Sunday afternoon when things are finalized.
So, I read all these different projections. I'm sure.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. It's a total waste of time.
Don't do that.
But a listener asked this one, and I read it all the time. I don't think we've ever had Michigan here. Is that a possibility?
I get the feeling the Citrus Bowl is pretty locked in there, given the year they had, and they select first out of the Big Ten after the CFP. I feel like they're pretty locked in there, George. I think they would have had to absorb another loss somewhere along the line to kind of get into our mix. I think the Big Ten, kind of the guide rails we use, and again, there's no definitives anymore. There used to be, but anymore the guide rails are kind of set to where, you can only have a Big Ten team once in this contract or twice in this contract cycle. So I would say the only team that we won't have for sure is Iowa. But I feel like Michigan will be off the board before we pick. And, I think we're kind of looking right now to kind of talk about, the Illinois and the Nebraskas, because Iowa's been here. Iowa's in that group, but probably won't fall to Nashville this year.
Kelly?
Scott, so I've asked people this question, a bunch of people on here, and I want to get your thoughts on it because you're a bowl guy. You've had this thing up, but we've made such a big to-do about the 12-team playoff. And with this new age of college sports and this new society that we're in about instant gratification, it seems to me like all these fans are going to say, hey, well, you're not in the top 12. You suck. We're not going to go watch you. How does a bowl, like if you don't make the 12-team playoff and you're still trying to go to a bowl game, how does that affect the bowl? Because I think that's going to start happening in years to come, where if you're not in the 12-team playoff, the fans are not going to go to the bowl. So it worries me about where the bowls are headed. Does it worry you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're all worried about it, Kelly. I go back to, we're in the 6th year of a 6-year agreement that, I just kind of replayed for you with a 4-team playoff when we signed the deal, and fans were still pretty excited about going to a city and seeing a Big Ten SEC matchup. I mean, and now you're right. There's a lot more apathy, and there's a lot more, if we're not in the playoff, we're done for the year. I really think I think the decision's really going to lie in the conference offices with the athletic directors, and that as we look forward, and everybody knows, the expansion discussion about the 12 team, and that decision's now kicked down the road to late January, and it's going to be really interesting to see what's important to postseason college football. If it's all playoff, then do the non-CFP bowls matter to the SEC and the Big Ten and the ACC and the Big 12? Because if they don't, then we've got to kind of retool postseason as we've known it for 100+ years. And certainly it's different now than it was 20 years ago, no doubt about that. But if it is important, then how can we recreate the importance of it? Is that shifting all the college schedule around, the portals and the movements and the players and I don't know, but I think it's a conversation that I hope is engaged between the cities that have done a lot of investment in postseason football, whether it's Orlando or Nashville or San Antonio or whomever, or Dallas or New Orleans, that we can sit down and say, okay, as a city, here's what's important. We need people here. We're doing this for a positive tourism impact. But then also you're looking at a metrics that the ratings are continuing to do well, if not grow, despite the opt-outs and the changes and the roster kind of gutting, if you will, at some of the bowl games. So it's a really tough decision, but I think it's going to have to be made within the conference office of what do you want postseason football to look like? Is it all playoffs or bust, or is there a combination of this? And if so, how do we recreate a little bit of excitement and in some cities that really have some great destination and investment in sports?
Do you think in years to come, there's so many bowl games now, Scott? You know that.
Yeah.
When I was growing up,
Right.
there were just a few. Do you think there's going to be some attrition of the bowl games? Like, are some of the bowl games going to go away in 5-10 years from now that you just have to because they're not making any money?
Well, I can't speak for the other cities, Kelly. I don't want to kind of maybe go there, but I will go back to the decision of let's just look at the SEC, which we're all kind of familiar with. So let's look at 2026 from my seat right now. We're sitting here waiting on a decision about stay at 12 as is, or we go to 16, we go to 20, we go to 24, we go to the whatever, right?
Right.
When's that going to be made? Let's say they make a decision in late January. Then the way it's working out, then they're going to make a decision on what's it look like other than the playoff. Well, also with the SEC, you got to think about next year, they're going to 9 conference games. So you've just added 8 losses in the conference somewhere. And so you got to do a little bit of analytics thinking, okay, if you go to 16 teams and the SEC, if it was this year, would have what, 7 in?
Yeah.
7 in. And so what are we looking at? Teams 8, 9, and 10 are the only ones that are maybe 6 wins plus, but wait, are they still 6 wins if they play 9 games? So what is the postseason outside of a 16-team playoff look like for the SEC? Now, if it is, and you want to do 2 or 3 games, is that with the Big Ten in some cities, and we figure out a way to kind of make those valuable? Maybe we could. It takes some collaborative kind of discussion, but the first thing that's got to fall is that. But then you come to us, and let's say we stay as is. Then you're asking us to put a business model together, of which right now I don't have a TV contract, I don't have a sponsor contract, I don't have a conference contract, I don't have a stadium lease deal, I don't have a hotel deal, because I don't know what I've got next year of who's playing in the game and when it's going to be, or if it is going to be, if they want to even play postseason after the playoff. So there's so many decisions that kind of ride on that model for the whole postseason that is really difficult to answer. Now, you look at the volume of games, and again, I'm focusing more on the P4 kind of matchups because I think those are going to be probably the ones more impacted by the decision of the CFP and the commissioners about expansion. You know, I do think some of the G5 conferences, you know, the way they play their postseason and the matchups they have are probably a little less impacted because of the pull-up of the number of teams. But you go from 2019 to 2026 thinking you got one SEC team in the playoff, and then we're picking as bowls to 7. Even with a 16-team league, that's a really tough model to put together and say, wow, I can make this work.
Okay,
So,
we've got. Go ahead.
I got one more. So
Okay.
I know your whole deal is the Music City Bowl, but are you guys ready for the FCS National Championship?
I'm glad you brought that up. Let's switch let's switch channels a little bit. Man, I'm jacked up about it. I got to be honest. I told George this. I don't really think a lot of people in our community, maybe the more astute football fan, is really going to be ready for, hopefully two of the top teams that are ranked right now rolling into Nashville for that game. And it's a national championship game. This isn't coming in just to play a regular season or even a bowl game. This has come in and we're going to win a national championship. And I've just been so impressed with that group of athletic directors and conference commissioners and coaches and in the event they did in Frisco last year. And I'm really excited about putting Nashville out there to make that event a real showcase. We're working hard on it. I think we're ready to go. Obviously, we won't know our teams until the semifinals play out on December 20. But boy, I'm really excited about putting prime time, putting it at Vanderbilt, and hopefully filling the stadium and really making that a marquee event for our city.
Parker, go.
Scott, as long as I've lived in Nashville, it's just always seemed that college sports are king down here. Well, I went to college in Chicago, and I was kind of surprised by the amount of people that didn't necessarily care about college sports as much as I do. With all the people that are moving to Nashville, one, do you think that that's helped with the engagement in college sports? And two, do you think that's helped kind of keep the level of interest in these bowl games that are not the playoffs?
Well, first of all, Parker, I don't think you've lived in Nashville as long as George and I. So
no,
I'm gonna go out on a limb. I feel really confident in that statement. But yeah, I think a couple things. I think, and George knows this from our time. I think early on in the late 1990s and the early 2000s, when we were really trying to kind of build a resume and a reputation as a host city for events, we really kind of felt like the college events were really a sweet spot for us. Geographically, I think where we sat with those alumni bases, and B, the SEC prominence at that time really kind of lended itself to that. And also, I think it gave us a lot more variety. And I think we've seen that. This year, FCS, the bowl game continues to do well. The SEC men's basketball tournament is just a home run event for us for 5 straight days. And then last year we started the Broadway Block Party College Volleyball event, which was the most viewership in any volleyball game except for the Final Four, and we're going to continue that this year. So I think we've really kind of seen that college is a great sweet spot. I think with the new stadium, it's going to open up obviously some opportunities for us that we hadn't been able to pursue before, like the Final Four, like the CFP National Championship game, and maybe like for some other creative events and national championships that we couldn't pursue. So, I think that the influx of people, to your point, hopefully brings a lot of passion for college. And I think it's kind of been something that's been a real foundational event basis for us in a strategy way.
Rick Region smiling down on this. Hey, there is a great story, and you know him well, Chris Santa, about the 1 year the Volunteers. He was part of a group with a bunch of kids around the Music City Bowl, and Chris asked the kids to make a bunch of noise. They were in a practice session, and Rick went berserk. And I would give anything to see that on tape. And I know you would too.
Yeah, I would. We miss him a lot,
Yeah.
A couple funny things on that. You're referring to our youth football program where we used to have a couple thousand kids kind of in and out of the tunnel. And Rick was sergeant at arms to keep 2,000 kids in line. And, one kid stepped out of the line and it was Sergeant Carter. But the other thing I laugh about was the first time we ever had Tennessee in the game against North Carolina, I think 2010-ish or something like that. Tennessee had been coming off a loss or 2 losses maybe or something. And Rick called me and says, just do not pick them. Do not pick them. They won't bring 5 people. They're so mad. I go, Rick, there's just no way we can pass up, Tennessee and a chance to maybe fill. There's just no way. And plus there's not really, I couldn't remember who was behind him. So he wore me out for a couple of days. I said, Rick, I got to go with him. Oh my God, it's going to be the worst decision you've ever made in your career. Well, we sell out in like 24 hours. And he calls me back on Tuesday morning. He says, I was wrong. in classic Rick style. So yeah, I really miss Rick.
We all do.
At President's Star events, and he would have loved the FCS game, George. A national championship, something like that. To see the passion at the FCS kid, and I'm not saying they don't have it at the SEC level, but boy, seeing the passion the last couple of years and watching that game in person. That the kids have at the North Dakota States and the Montana States and the Montanas is really kind of a throwback to way you kind of grew up watching college sports, because they're playing for their team, their state, their area, and not thinking about the NFL. They're just thinking about winning a championship game, and it's going to be a great showcase, I think, for Nashville.
Hey, you were good to do this and spend a little more time than I guess. We didn't lie, but maybe we didn't tell the truth. Thank you for doing this.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks, and I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you soon.
Same here to you and your family. Talk soon.
All right, see you guys.
Scott Ramsey, he has seen all of this. They do a terrific job with this bowl. I don't believe that every bowl gives the players the kind of experience that the Music City Bowl does. I'm biased. Screw it.
It's a good bowl, George, and just like Scott said, Nashville has become a destination place. They can host stuff like that. That's why I'm still wondering why the Soccer World Cup is not coming. I cannot understand that. But Nashville has they've done such a great job of marketing stuff, and they can handle big things like that. They've handled country music forever, and it's just it's a place that people want to come. And now bringing all this collegiate stuff to the place, and all these professional teams. We got to get the professional teams better, but it's a destination city, and that's where people want to come.
After the break, a little roundtable discussion among the three of us. Vandy's college football playoff chances appear to be as close to zero as you can get. We're going to talk about why it turned out that way next on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Okay, today is podcast only. We're not on radio, so a little more just kind of wing it and have some fun with it. And I want to talk about Vanderbilt's situation in the college football playoff, which basically right now feels like it's nil. It feels like they got no chance with a 10-2 record. Guys, I believe their chances died whether we know it or not. The minute Oklahoma went to Alabama and surprised them in Tuscaloosa. We didn't know it then, although I kind of suspected it, that was the pivotal moment. We just didn't know it.
You are probably correct, George. And two, last week when LSU was up on Oklahoma and didn't finish the job, I thought they were going to. And I really think that, I think the Alabama deal was pretty big, but I think the LSU deal last week, I think if they beat Oklahoma, I think Vandy gets in. I really do. But I don't know, George. You asked me that earlier today when we were talking on the phone. I just feel as though if we're talking about Alabama, we're talking about Tennessee, we're talking about these big-time blue bloods. They're not even thinking about that. They're in the playoffs right now. But I think that's something that Clark Lee and his program have to overcome. I think people are waiting to see what happens next after the Pavia years. What happens next? Can they keep that up? Because I think people see the Vanderbilt, and there's such a stigma with the name Vanderbilt and the brand of Vanderbilt. They just say, well, it's Vanderbilt. Like you said, George, like a little pat on the head. Hey, you guys had a good season, but you're not going to make the playoffs. And just like Coach Cutcliffe said the other day, he is for certain, with all his knowledge of college sports and college football, Vanderbilt is a playoff team. And this year, he's absolutely right. Vanderbilt is a playoff team. I hate that the rules have stated, and Parker's done a good job with this, but this is the rules. A group of 5 team gets in, but I think at some point, the model that Parker's talked about with the group of 5 having their own national championship, I think that probably needs to go. I think Coach Cutcliffe talked about it the other day. He used the levels in high school football. Like everybody the 1A level can't play with the 6A teams. And, that's what's happening in the group of 5, whether we want to be realistic about it or not. It's great that they get to go. Yeah, we got to go to the playoffs, but you have no shot of winning it. Those teams are too good, and it's not going to happen. But I just think there's a stigma along with Vanderbilt right now, and that's something that Clark Lee, he's gotten the program to a certain point. Now he's got to get over the stigma of that, and he's got to keep winning, and he's got to keep winning big games. And he's got to keep getting the Jared Curtises of the world, these 5-star, which I don't know. I was going to say something earlier. Who rates these 5 stars? I get so sick of hearing, well, he's a 4-star, he's a 5-star. I don't care what kind of star he's got. Can he sit in the pocket and throw a ball when he has to, or win a game when the chips are down? I don't really care about those stars, but
He's a
that's
straight
the
ball guy.
Well, that's the stigma that I think that the university has to get over, because I think truly they are a playoff team, George, but this year it's not going to happen.
I was telling George before we got on the air that if you take that Vanderbilt logo away and you just blind resume and you slap Michigan's logo on there, you slap Notre Dame's logo on there, Vanderbilt is absolutely a playoff team. There may be a little bit of brand bias. I can make the case for 15, maybe even 16 teams to make it in the playoff this year. If this was last year, when you had the 9-3 Alabama, the 9-3 Ole Miss, and the 9-3 South Carolina, compared to a 10-2 Vanderbilt, you can make the case that Vanderbilt definitely would have made it in the field. This year, it's a little bit different with all the 10-2 teams, with all the SEC teams that are right up there at the top. It's really unfortunate. I think the justification is correct of Vanderbilt being on the outside looking in. Hunter Yurachek just did a terrible job of explaining it, but it's just the unfortunate reality this year.
Okay, I want to get to that because I want to be fair about what got said. Last night, Hunter Yurachek made the comment, something to the effect of they haven't been a 25 team. Well, the truth of it is when they beat Tennessee, Tennessee was a top 25 team. And so because that game ended up 45-24 instead of maybe 27-24, at 27-24, Tennessee might have stayed in a top 25, but because it was 45-24, they get booted out of the top 25. First of all, I think it was a stupid comment. And Hunter Yurachek has not done a particularly good job when he tries to explain to the ESPN crew what the committee is doing. In fairness to him, a lot of the, over the years, playoff chairmen, a lot of the NCAA basketball tournament chairmen have not come off looking very good. And I will say this, I think they need to get in a room and get their story straight before a chairman goes and makes that stupid a comment. Because what it suggested was, let's argue this for a second. If that game had gone to overtime and Vandy wins, Tennessee might still be in a top 25, and Hunter wouldn't have uttered that comment. But because Vandy did well in the committee's mind, it punished them. That's stupid.
It is stupid, and you have to play on you have to play who's on your schedule. You don't know how their year's going to be. You just have to play the games. And Vanderbilt's a good football team, and they go to Texas. Like I told y'all this last week, with the 2 turnovers that Diego Pavia had against Alabama in their end of the territory. Just think if they don't have that and they go in and score. They beat Alabama at Alabama, and then Texas they blitzkrieged them early in the game. And you got to give it when in your lifetime, George, has a Vanderbilt team been blitzkrieg like that and come back like they did? That doesn't ever happen. And they had the opportunity to maybe win the game at the end with a onside kick that they should have gotten. And I don't know if they go down and score, but they could have been 12-0 at that point, or no worse than 11-1 if they beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa. So I think what you said about the guy reporting that, I think that's a little hogwash. But I think that's the brand deal that we've been talking about, George. Everybody says, well, it's Vanderbilt. It's Vanderbilt. Well, they've got to get over that. Yeah.
Kelly, here's what sucks about that. Because a lot of our listeners and viewers don't know this. Hunter Yurachek 30 years ago was Vanderbilt's marketing and promotions director. He should know as well as anybody what the whole thing means. And don't get me wrong. Look, this is a really tough job. And I don't know exactly where I would have put him, but I now have come to the conclusion. It's a little bit like when you walk in a room and you see a child that he's ugly. Probably somebody did that to me. And you pat him on the head. Oh, what a cute child. Parker, I think the committee kind of treated Vandy like that. Oh, isn't that nice? Isn't that cute? You all have had a lovely season, get lost. I don't think they looked at any other metrics about that team. I really don't.
Right, and there are 2 ways that you can look at this. I mean, they dog walked Tennessee in Neyland Stadium. Tennessee falls all the way out, and Vanderbilt doesn't get rewarded for that. So it doesn't really make much sense. And 2, that you can't help that, going into this season, we all expected South Carolina to be good. We expected LSU to be good. It's not Vanderbilt's fault that those teams just happened to be poo-poo this year. They went out and they beat them, and they played who was on their schedule, and they won. The Alabama and Texas losses are, I hate this term, but they're good losses, but I don't think they looked at any other metrics. So you're right about that.
So let me ask both of you this. Who knows if in my lifetime they will ever sniff this again?
Right.
Because there's a lot of history in the past, and not much of it's very positive when it comes to football. So who knows? But let's just say it happens again next year. Should there be a different strategy from Clark Lee and Candace Lee to go very public with, let's cut the crap, we deserve to be in?
I think you have to be aggressive. If you back up what you did this past year, and it's a totally different feel with the quarterback because Diego Pavia is leaving. You don't have him anymore. And that's the question that everybody is asking. That's the question that I want to know. You guys want to know, can Clark Lee keep this up? And he's not going to have Diego Pavia. So can they do it with another young man behind center? Now, I think they probably can. I really like Tim Beck and Jerry Keel. They're really good football coaches. They've been coaching for a long time. But that's the question everybody wants to know, George. And if he does back it up and they do get the guy behind center that makes plays for him, like a Diego Pavia, I think you have to be aggressive. I think you have to go into the media because that's how you get things done. And if you're the AD and if you're Clark Lee, I think you have to be aggressive. You have to stand up for your team. You have to stand up for your brand and the community. And I think you have to go on air and say, hey, absolutely, we deserve to be in this thing. I think they deserve to be in it this year. And I'm going to ask y'all this. I think we've all said that they're out of it for sure. But, like, if Alabama gets drubbed by Georgia, they're probably going to be out. Do you think that helps any?
I don't think Alabama's going to be out. Because right now, if you're looking at the SEC standings, they're the 1 seed in the SEC.
I agree.
If they lose, Greg Sankey, pitchfork in one hand, lighter in the other hand, he's ready to burn the whole thing down if that happens.
Whatever. Here's what is going to happen, though. Not that I think Greg Sankey really cares one way or the other on Vandy. I'm sure in his talking points in August, he never dreamed he'd have to say this. But this gives him the excuse a 2-loss Southeastern Conference team gets left out. This will be the narrative. They will use Vandy as the narrative to push for 16.
Yeah.
Do we agree?
Yeah.
100%.
Texas, too. He's probably more upset about Texas than Vanderbilt.
Maybe.
Could be because that one was more expected.
Right.
But he's got some ammo there with both teams. So
he does.
The SEC could have 7 in a 16-team field. So that
right.
would, yeah.
I think a lot of y'all have figured out. I'm not Sankey's biggest fan. But
really, George?
Yeah. Imagine.
Did you also broadcast at Memphis State?
There is very little evidence to that. Okay. So, Kelly, because you kind of asked it, okay, what things would have to happen? I think at the 14 hole, it's virtually impossible. I can't, I tried to think through things like, okay, Bama gets beat 37-10. Do they get blown out of this thing? Deep down, I don't think so. Does BY get knocked out of this if Texas Tech beats them? I think absolutely. The Miami and Notre Dame thing, somewhere in here, Miami could well get the spot that Vandy hoped for. But in the end, we got to admit this. They were not very lucky at the end. 2 different teams had Utah on the rope and spit the bit, Kansas State in particular. And then Kelly referenced it. Oklahoma was there. They were ripe to be taken the last 2 weeks. Their offense is mush, and yet their defense is brilliant. And would I love to see a matchup today of Vandy versus Oklahoma? I really would. I'd love to see that great defense that Oklahoma has against Pavia and his brilliance. That'd be a fun matchup. Anyway, just food for thought.
I don't think anybody views Oklahoma as a legit national championship contender, but I also don't think anybody wants to be the first one to play that defense.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they trust the offense to put up more than 24.
No, they're elite. They're elite on that side of the ball, man. I mean, Brett Venables obviously coming from Clemson, who was a defensive coordinator, but like they got guys that can rush the passer. They got guys in the back end that can go get the ball. They can make plays. They got linebackers that can run. They're elite, and it's a shame that their offense is not on the same standard as their defense, because they would probably have a decent opportunity of winning this thing again if they had that balance on their team.
The question they're trying to figure out is, why has it regressed to this? I mean, they can't get anything done on offense. Nothing. Against a pretty now pedestrian LSU, they struggled offensively to get anything done. I know we need to go to the break. We will do that when we come back. A few other little things we'll toss out there. And then plaster bet of the day, which best can be described as a disaster. Stay tuned.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Attention, Big Orange Country. Tennessee and Illinois will square off Saturday, December the 6th at Bridgestone Arena. This is the rematch of a great college basketball game last season in Champaign that went right to the wire. And this one figures to be more of the same. Tickets are on sale now. You can grab your seats by going to Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. Tennessee, Illinois. It's big time.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Okay, final segment of the show. We've had a good one today. Hope those of you who have been able to join us by way of the podcast have enjoyed the witty repartee. Parker, the ACC, SEC basketball stuff is going on right now. And as opposed to a year ago when the SEC ransacked the Atlantic Coast Conference, ACC's gotten a little bit of revenge so far this year with a game in hand tonight here at 8:15 between SMU and Vandy.
Yeah, so you were just asking me to look it up. So I found the ACC is up 6-3 in the SEC ACC challenge so far.
6-3.
The SEC's just got punched right in the mouth.
Well, the ACC didn't have nowhere to go but to go up from last year because they got their mouth punched in. They got punched in the mouth last year.
So I went to the Preds game last night. I didn't see Tennessee's performance at Syracuse. Tell me what's going on right now, because after the Houston win, I thought the sky was the limit on Tennessee, but they have had 2 games in a row that I'm sure Rick Barnes isn't really thrilled with.
It's just been sloppy basketball, especially that Syracuse game last night. It was very low scoring, lots of turnovers, just miscommunications on defense, which is not typical under Rick Barnes. I don't know what's been going on since the Houston win, but they have not looked good. And Nate Ament hasn't been as present recently. Jacoby Gillespie, I believe he had 10 points last night. Jalen Carey was actually the leading scorer with 22. He had a chance to win it, but missed it, which I was surprised. It was a pretty easy shot. But
at the Carrier Dome.
At the Carrier Dome.
Yeah.
And then the Syracuse fans rushed the floor. Think about that. If I would have said that 10 years ago, the Syracuse fans rushed the floor after beating Tennessee. Would you believe me?
Hoops.
In hoops.
That's
Time
crazy.
Changed.
Carmelo Anthony's son was out there last night too for Syracuse.
That actually happened. They ran on to the court.
I watched it. I watched it all go down.
That's wild.
Kelly, remember you heard this. You ready?
Okay. Yes, sir.
This might be the most athletic Vanderbilt basketball team I have ever seen.
Really?
If you remember, they lost in the NCAA tournament to St. Mary's.
Right.
And the 2 teams got paired again in the what they call the Battle for Atlantis last Friday. And I got the chance to watch it. Vandy won the game by about 20. They are way more athletic. That's a bunch to pay some attention to, because I think they are scary good.
You're a big Mark Byington guy, that's for sure, George.
I'm scared
after what your whole program came through before, he's the right man for the job, obviously.
Yes. Here's the difference. Okay, this guy's a relentless recruiter, and he's a relentless worker. And the one before him, a little more interested in his golf game, which wasn't all that good.
Well, if you're going to be good, though, at anything, you've got to put time in and you've got to work it. And
I know you do.
Obviously, Byington does, and he's getting guys. He's bringing just like the Vandy football team with Clark Lee, getting people believing in them. Now you're getting people back to Memorial Gym, and they're excited about the Vanderbilt Commodores again. I know you're happy about that, George.
So who are the other ones tonight? SEC, ACC.
Got Louisville and Arkansas, which is probably going to be the headliner. Clemson.
Where is that game?
That's in Fayetteville. Bud Walton.
Yeah, Bud Walton will be hopping.
Yeah, Clemson, Alabama, which is a rematch of the Elite Eight matchup from 2 years ago.
Alabama has not been as good early.
Clemson is 7-1, so I don't really know what to make of them right now.
Well, they're a tough team to play. Brad Brownell plays a lot of games in the upper 60s, low 70s, and Alabama wants to go totally the other way.
Yeah, that'll be in Tuscaloosa and Coleman Coliseum, SMU Vanderbilt, and NC State and Auburn.
If you really want to do a doubleheader tonight, Richmond at Belmont at 6:30, Curb Event Center.
The Spiders.
And then the Vandy SMU game at 8:15.
Oh, I forgot. Virginia and Texas play tonight. That actually might be pretty intriguing.
Yeah.
Mississippi State, Georgia Tech, and LSU and Boston College.
Okay. Kelly.
Yes, sir.
My picks are causing me a certain level of pain.
Not your diet. Not your diet.
Shut up. So, pain can come in different forms. Pain can be plaster bed of the day, but that's not what the Dr. Gill Center is after. They are the Dr. Gill Center for back, neck, and chronic pain relief. And the bottom line is this. They wanted to advertise on a show that skews a little bit older. And certainly that happens because I've gotten a little bit older, maybe a lot older. And so when that happens, some days you wake up and it's not like when you were 20, there's pain. And the question is, do you just file it away and say, well, this is how it's always going to be? Or do you try to make it better? Well, the folks at the Dr. Gill Center say, try to make it better. Come to us, get an initial consultation. And a lot of what that's about is good listening. They want to know what you've been experiencing, how it's happened, what have you tried to do? And then once you've gotten through that part, they'll get you on a plan to get pain relief started. And that's the promise they make to you. $49 on that initial consultation. Here's their phone number, 615-882-4838. Again, 615-882-4838. Get rid of that pain. Here's a pain now that won't go away.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
wow.
Uh-oh.
God, look at that.
I was texting back and forth with intern Ty, and when he saw that you were taking Oregon to cover versus USC, he texted me separately and said, does George know how bad Oregon is at basketball? And I'm like, I don't think he does.
Dana Altman's had some great teams there.
He has, but I don't know what's wrong with this.
Well, let's
this
just
year's
look.
team.
Okay, it's not like they got boat raced. They lost 82-77. The other game, Ole Miss at home, Ole Miss got beat by 9. So, do you pay any attention to what I'm putting out there? If you're smart, the answer is no. But tonight, Kelly, we go with old Ucula, the UCLA Bruins, Ucula, minus 1.5 on the road at Washington.
Kelly, I think George has a love interest for the West Coast teams.
He don't even know that they've become the Big Ten anymore, Hoss, with the way he's picking.
Oh, I don't either.
What's weird is these are conference games.
That is
this
weird.
Is really early, but when you've got a conference that has 36 teams, I guess you have to start early.
You know what?
You got UCLA and Washington, and they're the Big Ten. That's crazy to me.
That makes a lot of sense.
We had a team from Texas playing out in California to determine who was going to be in the ACC championship game.
Nuts. We're done. Tomorrow, all I'm going to tell you is that in 35 years of sports talk radio, I have done a lot of remote broadcasts from a lot of different places. I don't think I've ever broadcast from anything quite like what you're going to see tomorrow if you watch in podcast form. And my hope is that by the time we hit the airwaves, I will be extremely happy. Kelly.
You hope, George. You hope.
It is your job to see to it that it happens.
I have nothing to do with it, George. I'm just watching and commentating on the game, Hoss.
Here's what I ask. For the betterment of the show, wear a coat and tie that match.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not wearing a tie. I'm not doing it. Now, I'm going to look nice, but I'm not wearing a tie. So you can be a hater all you want to, George. It's going to look better than that Vanderbilt Legend shirt you got on today. Okay?
Yeah.
But it's not going to be a tie.
Yeah, that worries
I only
me.
wear I only wear ties now if I absolutely have to, and Chip and I have come to the conclusion that we don't absolutely have to anymore.
Oh God. Okay, we're out of here. So tomorrow, the first thing up, we will hear from Kelly on his BGA FRA state title game report. He will join us to begin the show. And if he's not dressed appropriately, God help him. We will let him know it. Kelly, have a good broadcast, you and Chipper.
See y'all, man. Appreciate it.
Parker, see you tomorrow.
See y'all tomorrow.
Boom.